Hello in this new year. And here we are in the third year of the pandemic and stepping into a whole bunch more unknown. And I was just reading how the entry into the new year has been very different for most people this year. For one, there's a sense, our sense of time has sort of disappeared. We've had in the last couple of weeks, like, what day is it? And what, and getting days confused, and then timing and scheduling. We have to double check our calendars, because we've had a whole, but, time seems to be very wormy right now and very squirrely, moving around. And I was thinking about what would be most nourishing for all of us as we're entering into more of the unknown. And in some ways, that's really our condition as humans, is that the next moment is unknown. But generally, we have a whole bunch of planning and structures and traditions and rituals that make us not so aware that the next moment is unknown. But now we're kind of really up against it, where we really have got, wow, this is all unknown. And so I was thinking about what are the most useful, powerful practices we can take into this new time and create new space with it. And I was thinking, what popped up to me was appreciation and opening to receiving. Most of us have a what's wrong habit, and that's kind of our default position. So imagine if your default position were appreciation. We're having an attitude of anything from to wow. So I want to invite you, since you're all muted, you can make as much noise as you want to. I'd like you to let yourself actually go between and wow. And notice how that feels to you. Going back and forth between the two of them several times, the and letting the reverberate through you, and then the wow, and letting the wow reverberate through you, and letting as much of your body participate that as you want to, because your can be very it can be very tender, it can be very delicate, because that kind of attention is also very needed, the kind of tender but also then the wow. Because no matter what is going on, you can choose on this continuum between and wow as your default position. So that's one big practice that I want to offer to you. And you can take the and the wow into love scoops as well. Because in the opening to receiving, we've been taught, almost all of us, since we were little, that we open to giving, and that giving is better than receiving, and that you're a better person if you give more than you receive. But if everybody's giving, who's receiving? And also the gift of your receiving to the exchange of attention. So I'd like you right now to exchange your send your out to somebody that you see here or somebody in your life. And then I want you to back into opening to receiving, and letting your love scoops allow you to give some loving attention to any place in you that's feeling a little meh. I'm not open to receiving. I don't like the way you're giving. And you can let yourself get a little grumpy with that, and then go ahead into Now, when you're receiving, because I see some of you doing an aspect of what I call windmill love scoops, where you're creating a lot of air, it'd be a good filter, but you're not actually receiving. So what would it be like if you scooped and actually put your attention where you're touching and took a breath? And then you're sending out and pausing and noticing, where is it landing? So, in the giving and receiving of attention, add in what's the most nourishing pace. There may be a long pause between, where you're just being with yourself. And in fact, love is being willing to be in the same space with. So you may notice, like I notice some people touching their shoulders, some people touching their faces, some people touching their bellies. Remember also that you have this whole back of you that's been backing you up, that's been holding you, that's been allowing you to walk around in the world. And I was noticing as I put my hands on the top of my sacrum, I can feel the warmth of my hands. And I realized that my back was feeling just a little cool, but I didn't realize that until I felt the warmth of my own touch. And that's creating a sense more of uplifting and opening in my chest. So you can notice as you're practicing your love scoops and as you're shifting your attention with that, first create either that or the wow, and let that then get carried out on your attention, just sending your attention out. And like I'm landing on a plant that's in the room here, and I'm really experiencing the wow of this plant. And also, I'm appreciating its thank you because I watered it yesterday and it was kind of going, "Ugh." And so now it's really saying thank you with just a little bit of, it could have happened a little sooner, but now I'm just going to appreciate and I understand, and I'm glad that you didn't die while I was neglecting you. And so, when we're in our attention trance, other things can be happening and we're not quite aware of it. So alternating between love scoops for you and then appreciating and being willing to receive others' appreciation. I can feel as I'm doing that I'm settling more in myself. I don't feel quite so up in my body. So notice where you're located in your body right now. And the other thing I was thinking about, my water fell over, was do you have a container for your own energy? I think many of us are kind of leaky. We may get energy, but it leaks right out again. So if you're getting attention and then something distracts you, there it goes. So I was imagining you creating a base or a love pool or your own love tree that comes out from your feet and goes down into the ground so that you can store, you can fill your own reservoir. We live in Southern California and have been in the middle of a historic drought, and we just received 12 inches of rain, which is twice as much as we received all last season. So as I look outside and as I tune into it, as we took a walk yesterday, I could feel everything kind of going, and settling. But I want to have you have a place to settle into. So here's one suggestion, is to feel the bottoms of your feet and feel them touching the floor, the ground. And as you're giving and receiving attention, let it trickle on down. We have gray water systems out in yards, so the water trickles down through gravel and then into the earth. So how can you let that attention trickle down and settle and feel it filling your reservoir? So I'm feeling my feet kind of feeling a little sloshing around in my little love pool. And that as I'm receiving attention, it is filling and settling and giving me a sense of reserves, of something to draw on. So much is going on right now that is draining. Any kind of emotional distress is very draining to us. And so the filling of our own systems with giving attention to us, but also being willing to share with others. So, love scoops. I recently learned that we have these reservoirs that are under Ojai. We have these pools, we have these ground reservoirs that are under, not the one that we can see, but the ones that are under the ground. And so, wonder if you would be willing to have reservoirs inside that are there and functioning and there for you all the time, regardless of whether you're giving attention to them. So with your or your wow, I was just thinking doing a love scoop from way up in there and letting it really come into you like rain. Love scoops and love scoops, and you can use your wiggles, you can use your hmms to let that trickle down any place that's feeling like it needs a little more nourishment. I can feel that, especially in your joint, in my joints. So check your joints and see if there's any oozing that you want to ooze some of that nourishment in. And the sound I find really adds to my experience of receiving. I often, when I'm in interactions with people, I notice that I'm saying, I want to invite you to add in the to your interactions, because that automatically shifts you into curiosity and into appreciation. And it can refresh your exchange so that when you're interacting with somebody, you don't get drained. You both get your sense of expansion and willing to receive expanded. And notice if there's any other little tender places in you. I can feel it's a little bit of sort of residual sadness. And we have a large community in Boulder, and they had a tragic fire move through in the last few days. And so a lot of us have been giving attention to our friends and their families and their animal companions. And so if you're feeling any of that tenderness yourself, make sure that you're giving yourself the kind of tenderness that you're feeling for others. And feel free to let your loving attention go to people that aren't in your space, because love and attention go across time and space so easily. And be sure to come back to you. So if you would be willing to, this practice, just a few minutes of this practice every day, can give you a sense of your own resilience and your own ability to meet the unknown. So just take a moment to appreciate how you're feeling right now. Notice if you're like, I'm noticing I feel some more flexibility. I feel some more openness inside. My breath has settled and feels both deeper and a little bit slower. So I can give attention because I'm here. And when you lose that, which you will, you're not going to stay in this. So that's what the practice is for, is that you can come back to it just with a and a shifting of your attention. So as we step into this new year, I'm ready to welcome and meet whatever is here with as much love and presence as I can. And I appreciate you being here at the beginning of this new year and being willing to practice together. So thank you,
Mhm.
and wow. And I'm going to leave you for right now and let you continue your love and action discussions as you wish. And we'll say more about that next week. Mwah.